welcome into Bettor's Last Stand here in the studio. Chris is good. He's on board here with Cool's job, running the controls as usual. Chris, you haven't done a show in the studio yet, have you?
No.
So welcome.
I love it. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm glad to fill in. The office/studio looks wonderful.
Yes, Bettor's Last Stand, episode 24. Chris makes his debut. Coach out doing Wheeling Jesuit basketball tonight. Cool's back in the seat.
Good to be back.
He was here with us last night. We had a nice podcast. Me, Cool's, Jubb, and Jarrett. Soup out on the prow as usual, driving up and down the eastern seaboard. Had a call in with Nick. It was a good show, so check it out if you haven't. This is Bettor's Last Stand, the weekly betting show under the Pine Room Podcast umbrella. If you didn't see last week's show or listen to last week's show, we had Lauren the Bettor on, which was really cool. She checked back in with us after a few months. We had a nice chat with her, Jubb. It was good to hear from her. She's doing really good. It was me, you, and Soup last week, Jubb, that is, as Coach has been out of action. Your dad's a busy guy, Jubb. Does he ever take a night off?
I just asked him today. I said, when's all this stuff going to end? And he didn't really have
When's he going to enjoy retirement?
Never.
It's impossible.
Well, what happens to him is he has a hard time saying no. So if somebody comes up to him and asks him, and which I think our whole family has the same disease.
It's tough.
Like if somebody asks him to do something, he just automatically.
Especially if somebody you like. Yeah. So we missed Coach. We'll get him back in here last week. I actually wanted him to talk a little bit about the national championship since he's Mr. College Football. But you're going to have to settle for our three takes. And Jubb, I'm sure, will have a wonderful take on the game. I'm sure he watched every play of it.
I'll have some stuff for you.
There's really not a whole lot to talk about as we put a bow on college football. An absolute ass beating by Georgia. Just the Horned Frogs. It was pretty evident to me, guys, in about midway through the first quarter that TCU is really going to have trouble staying in the game. Was that your observations too, Cools?
Yeah, it was clear that they just did not belong on the same field as Georgia, at all.
It was kind of disappointing. I was hoping they would be a little better. I expected Georgia to win pretty easily, but not like that. Chris, what do you think?
I thought they'd be able to score a few more points. I was thinking maybe something like 40-18, 17, but I mean, I think I turned it on and was 17-7, and then I figured they're just too big, strong, and they dodged that bullet the week before, and I figured they're not gonna lose to TCU. Right. I mean, they're just bigger, faster, stronger, and just more talented.
Georgia's last 5 recruiting classes have all been top 5, and TCU's was all the 30s and 40s. So it's really not even fair.
No, and it was pretty evident too that some of those guys that had big games against Michigan, the receivers and stuff, there was a whole different ball game. And and Ohio State let Georgia off the hook. They really did. And
sure.
And you're right, Chris. I knew Georgia wasn't going to play that bad again.
No,
there's just no way. And TCU, obviously the big emotional win over Michigan in a wild game. Obviously, Michigan.
What's that say about Michigan, though? I mean,
just Harbaugh, just a clown. When it matters, just the silly stuff they try to do. And I mean, Harbaugh's had good teams the last 2 years, and he's just in these biggest games, he just can't seem to get it done. But then again, they did beat Ohio State. So,
do you think Harbaugh getting some NFL interest might have played a role in that game? Maybe they want us prepared.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, he gets that all the time. I feel like he ought to be. I think his biggest problem is not willing to adapt to the new age of college football. I think that's what holds Michigan back. Now, they've advanced further than I expected. Like, their quarterback, I think, is good, but they just seem like they want to do the frozen caveman line up and I formation crap. Like when he was playing, when he played for the Colts and the Bears. Like, I don't know. I do think he's a very good coach. In today's world, there's not that many good coaches, and even the ones who were good like him, they're gonna make mistakes. I thought he kind of let TCU, kept them in that game early, and then TCU made plays in that game, which they weren't able to do against Georgia. But it's tough when you're playing a caliber of athlete like you said, Cools, 4- and 5-star kids, and you're doing it back-to-back games. You might be able to surprise them once, but I guarantee you, Georgia realized, this team's, if we don't play our best, they're going to give us some problems, and I think they were ready for it. Whereas against Ohio State, it surprised me how Georgia really didn't play good in that game. So I don't know, but I think the best team won, so I don't think anybody can be really I know there's a lot of people that complain about the SEC, and I was one of the few people, and I know Jub's dad, he was glad TCU got in. I thought Alabama should have been in ahead of them, and I think it kind of showed. I just think that caliber of team right now is just better. Now, I'm not saying it was the fair thing to do, but as far as the better teams, and I knew when Alabama beat down Kansas State, who had beat TCU in the Big 12 championship, I was a little bit worried about their fate against Georgia.
Well, do you think that probably doesn't bode well for like those Big 12 teams in the future?
Yeah.
When you see them getting, I mean, if the game's within a touchdown or two, right, even maybe 20 points, but I mean, that was just terrible. Something, down the road, they're going to say, well, yeah, hey, Kansas State's 12-0 or right, WVU or whomever. But it's like they're in that weak ass conference.
And it's only going to get weaker, Chris, when Oklahoma and Texas leave. They're getting ready to leave. So, yeah, I don't know. Big 12 might not even last much longer. It is tough. And again, SEC bias exists for sure. And I'm not saying that the low teams in the SEC are that good, but their top teams, they definitely are still pretty good. Georgia and Alabama, Tennessee took a big step upward. Yeah. I mean, Texas A&M gets the great recruiting classes, but they suck every year. So I don't buy a whole lot into them. But I do think there's teams in the SEC that are better than your top teams in maybe your fifth and sixth best team in the SEC are probably still as good as the top teams in the Big 12. So anyway, college football wraps up, thankfully. I had a good bowl season. I can't complain about that. And, it was relatively entertaining. I thought, from my perspective and just following the games, bowl game underdogs 22-18-1. The unders were 21-18. So, if you took dogs, you took unders, you had a pretty successful bowl run. SEC 4-0 against K-State, TCU, Ohio State, and Clemson, outscoring them 204-48. So, I mean, that just says right there, they're like them or not. I mean, you may think they do get unfair treatment, but their good teams are still pretty good. So, can't discount that. Guys, any things you're looking forward to in next year's college football season off the top of your head? Anything?
Florida State, man. I think they might be a team to watch out for.
No, you're right.
Not being biased.
No, you're not. You're not, because they actually are pretty good. They're up and coming, and it'd be nice to see a program like that. I'm hoping my program could come and meet you there sometime.
Miami.
USC's back up a little bit now, so they got to get a defense. Boy, that was bad against Tulane, how they blew that game. Enjoyable for me, but if you're a USC fan, got to get a defense. But, I don't know. College football is one of the things, like, I'm ready for it to be over now. Like, I don't need to see it until fall. I know Jub's dad probably had a tear in his eye the other night when he went to bed as it comes to a close.
Yeah, it's nice that it's, I mean, well, you think about it. I mean, it started, at the end of August?
Yeah.
And then, we go, almost 2 weeks into the new year. It's enough.
Yeah, it's enough.
It is enough. And then were you having still games, 3 nights a week?
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
When they did that, what's the conference that does Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
Yeah, MAC.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like overload.
Yeah. It is. And for those people that really love it, it makes you appreciate it more when it's not there all the time. So
yes, but like you said, most of that's all gambling purposes, isn't it? Or a lot of it.
Absolutely. I think gambling drives a lot of this stuff, and and I say it right here, not just because I work in the industry too, and we do this show and we all follow this stuff pretty good. But there's times where I'm just like, I don't have the energy or the excitement level to watch these games, but I have them on and I'm following them just because of that, whether it's gambling or just for, work reasons, just being on top of it and following the industry. But sometimes it does get tedious and you're just like, I've had enough of this. I need a break for a little bit. So now it's time to switch it up for the NFL playoffs. I can't wait. So just observations as we're going to go through our picks and some of the stuff detailed. Going to run down the coach rankings, our coach confidence rankings entering the playoffs. We're going to get these guys Super Bowl picks and we're going to go through the games. We're going to do that at the very end of the show. But right now, thoughts about week 18, guys. I guess, Chris, I didn't get you. Cooley, we discussed a little bit about DeMar Hamlin, but your thoughts about that? Were you watching the game when he went down?
No, it was. I got a text from all people. My daughter Emily texted me. I don't know, whatever time that happened in the first quarter.
Yeah, right? It was early, very early.
And I think how I was doing something. She said, "Are you watching this game?" Well, actually, even prior to that, though, I saw on the ticker that the game had been delayed.
Right.
So I assumed weather, rain, lightning, and I told her no, and then she texted me back. She goes, "Oh, some guy had a cardiac arrest on the field. So then I turned it over. The field was already cleared off. Everybody was in the locker room. Then I proceeded to learn what had happened. And it was stunning. It was scary.
Yeah.
It was a very eerie, just watching, they were just showing the crowd, and it was like an eerie silence. And, at least it sounds like it's he's doing very well.
He's out.
He's
home now. Yeah.
But man, if fortunately, he got immediate attention.
Right.
I mean, so that probably saved his life.
Yeah, just like with Christian Eriksen, the soccer player last summer, same thing. They got on him.
Oh
quick.
yeah, right.
Cools, were you watching the game when he went down?
No, I wasn't watching it live. I was actually asleep. I had work the next day.
Yeah.
I woke up at the middle of the night and I had 400 text messages because my fantasy league was a mess.
Right. Points for anybody. Oh yeah, that's a whole other mess itself, right there.
I was up all night reading through all the messages and finding out what happened. So
yeah,
it's sad. It sucks, but
yeah, we're just glad he's all right. I mean, I mean, I don't blame him for stopping that game. I think they should have done that. I don't think you can ask guys to play after that. It's just hard to think of.
When I turned that on, and I thought, I mean, it was, well, the one thing I really thought was cool is, what was that foundation that he had?
The toy
foundation. The next day.
And then he got like millions of dollars of donations. And
how much?
That was awesome. But I kind of wish that once they knew what had happened and they had taken him to the hospital, that ESPN just kept going back to the studio and talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know
it's tough for them people to even talk about
exactly.
it.
So let them get their opinions and just talk about it, and then just put on a replay of something.
Well, they have options to put on games. They carry like 9 million things on ESPN Plus. They could have just went to a basketball game or something to fill it in. Like, we're gonna close up shop for the night and we're gonna take you out to the so-and-so in an SEC basketball game or something. They put it on.
But you know what? And I'm not, because that's got to be tough. These people in the studio are just preparing for the game, and we'll see at halftime. They don't expect to be in the first quarter.
That's hard for anybody to be on the spot. Like at Aikman and Buck, they got criticized. I mean, I don't think the one's hard to be able to be in that position.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you train for catastrophes like that?
I know. You wouldn't.
Like when you're in journalism class, we're going to have this. The next week we're going to dedicate to when a player collapses on the playing field, and you got to learn how to
heart attack segment.
Yeah, right. But it's just like anything else that people will find a way to bitch about it, no matter what it is.
Yeah. There's going to be criticism. I'm not criticizing the people. I just think after a while, they kept going to commercial.
They should have made a decision. They should have had a plan. Honestly, they should have emergency plans in place at the network. Something that's that big. You have, you mentioned it a while. We will cut in when needed to give you more information. Things like that. But yeah,
the only thing that drives me nuts, and I know you have to say it, but we hear it all the time whenever there's an injury or something very serious like that. Is it just shows you that it's all about just life, like life's. Well, we know that. I mean, I get it. I don't think anybody that was at that game when they learned about what happened to this guy that, well, shit, I paid $80 or $150 for this. Damn it, they better continue the game.
Hey, listen, it is, but it is funny to hear people react like that. You're exactly right. We had people the next day coming over trying to cash the tickets for that game. There was a guy that got furious with us. He thought since the Bengals are winning that game, 7-0 or 7-3, 7-3. Yeah. He said Bengals and under. This is a winner. I said, sir, no. I said, yes, it is. So then he pulls the whole, I was in Vietnam. I had guys dying to my left. They didn't stop the war. I said, all due respect, war and football aren't the same thing. And I appreciate your service, but this is a refund. Yeah. I can't do anything else for you. It's a game. They could stop a game. I'm not expecting them to stop Vietnam when there's guys getting killed. I mean, I don't even know how to argue that. And I just can't believe that people think that that's a valid comparison.
Well, Matt, another thing I heard him talking about, to try to resume the game, they said, well, just imagine, you're at your workplace, you're in a meeting, and then Bob drops dead.
Yeah.
And then the boss says, well, guys, you know what? Take 10 minutes.
Drag him out.
And we'll be back in 15 minutes.
Jubb's got a PowerPoint to present to us after this guy's out of here.
And Bobby's out in the hallway in a body bag, but you got to get over it.
And I will make this comparison because you're exactly right. If one of our coworkers died at work, they resuscitated him there and obviously you're kind of traumatized and they send you home or whatever. Sadly, business will resume though within a couple of days, and that's the part that, not to get into a big thing about it, but like, I don't think what they're doing as far as the coin toss, I don't think you can penalize the Chiefs for this, and I don't think it's fair to the Chiefs. I think those teams could have decided to play that game on the next day if they wanted to. I know it's not the most popular thing, and I realize the Bills especially, but the Bengals should not be benefiting from that because they didn't play that game, and I know it wasn't their fault, but you can't penalize the Chiefs, and that's where I think people are so worried about saying and doing the right things that at some point the operation has to go on. I mean, it's $1 billion corporation. The guy's okay, which is awesome. And now it's time to get back to business. But I don't know. I feel like everybody's always trying to find a solution where everyone's happy.
It's never going to work.
It's not going to work.
That. I mean,
and I don't know if it's fair, but I didn't think the Chiefs came out on the right side of this. If they had to play a championship game on a neutral site, I think that's just wrong.
Yeah, if they get matched up with the
Bills or the Chiefs,
okay.
Is it? Or the Bills or the Bengals?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they haven't. If that happens, they haven't determined where, have they?
No, I think they were supposed to be getting close to that too.
Well, if you ask me, like I heard them talking about today on the radio about some neutral sites. They talked about Indianapolis and
it needs to be outside.
Dallas. I thought the same exact thing. And the guy just called in and was just he said, what about Ann Arbor or Columbus? And I don't know why he picked those two places.
Giant stadiums, probably.
Right. But they said, well, but
I'd be cool with
you
that.
would probably, maybe have a stadium that's used to hosting NFL games.
Right.
But
No,
whatever,
right
but it should be outside.
Down to the goalposts and the hash marks and all that stuff people don't understand.
Right.
That's kind of important.
I just wonder how many things that we couldn't even think of that goes into a decision like that.
Man, yeah. Just as far as finding teams appropriate lodging.
Yes.
How many 5-star hotels are in Ann Arbor? I don't know that.
Right.
Like that's gonna. I don't know. And these guys travel in monstrous parties. These NFL. I mean, there's giant outfits. They're bringing trailers in with equipment and all this stuff. Wouldn't want to have to do that, but it's just silly. Just play it. They probably should stick it in an NFL field if they're going to do it. I disagree with it, but that's the way it's going to go.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. What did you guys think about how the Bills' first play they run the kickback against the Patriots?
Awesome.
Didn't that almost feel like? And again, people will get mad for me saying, but it almost looked staged to me. Like the Patriot guys were taking terrible angles. They were just out jogging. The guys just running out of the sideline.
When I saw the guy break out, I thought, well, they're going to get him on that angle.
How about the kicker? I think you're pretty much, this used to be the way, the special teams coaches, if you're the kicker and you're the last guy back and you see the guy is going down the sideline, you're supposed to cut him so he tries to turn back in.
Right.
So it gives your other guys a chance to
slowing down a little bit.
That kicker was just like out there. He had a 20-yard head start. And he couldn't go a straight line to get to the sideline in time to make the guy cut. So anyway, I feel like I'd be hard to believe that Belichick would say, you're going to let him score. But it was like in the middle of the play, it was like the Patriot guys were like, let's just let him go. But then you give up another one later, which is just terrible. I think the Patriots would have won that game too if they didn't give those up. But I don't know. It was definitely interesting. What else? Week 18 stood out.
I didn't watch very much at all. The Browns did what the Browns do. They just rolled over for the Steelers. But I found it funny. We'll probably discuss this later when we talk about the coaches. How the guy from I was going to say San Diego, the Chargers, played all his guys.
Yeah,
inexcusable.
How stupid is that?
Inexcusable.
And they had nothing to play for, correct?
No, they were locked in. Once the Ravens lost, they were locked in.
I didn't know that. Then they said Mike Williams ended up getting hurt with their best receiver.
Oh, yeah, he hurt his back, and then Bosa, their best pass rusher, got hurt. Just absolute stupidity. And I am so tired, and you're right, Chris, we'll talk about it more when we go through these coaches because we all got opinions. I am so tired of coaches coming on TV and justifying their actions by saying, I'd coach every game to win.
Oh yeah,
but it doesn't benefit you any. You have to know when it's time. Obviously, 99% of the games you're playing are going to be you're going to want to win or need to win. It's not that you don't want to win, but you got to protect your assets for the bigger prize going forward. And this guy's supposed to be some brainiac, smart analytic guy. Now, analytics to me would say, don't play your best guys if you don't need them. Job, what do you say?
A coach saying they're going out to win, that's like a pitcher saying he's going to go out to throw strikes.
Right.
That's like,
We know you're trying to win. That's the objective. But you can try to win with other guys if you have to.
When you pitch, did you ever think about going out and like pitching like shit?
Throw strikes.
You know,
I'm going to maybe give up 6 walks today. Hit a few guys.
I feel like having no control today.
Yeah, I mean that's like Captain Obvious.
You're like getting up saying, you know what, today's the day to lose.
I just don't feel like winning today. Like, who says that?
I want to piss my dad off and have him come out to the mound in the first inning.
Just the post game press conferences of Nick's boy, the Chargers coach. What the hell is his name?
Staley.
Brandon Staley. Yeah. I can't believe it. He's trying to say he didn't have his roster was too restricted to be able to rest the guys, but somehow the Giants were able to do it. They were able to rest all their players that they needed to. I don't understand it. We're going to go through our coach rankings. I thought that was silly, but maybe the only sillier thing than that was the Texans trying to win the game instead of getting the number 1 pick.
Yeah. I love that move by Lovey Smith.
Lovey gave him the big fuck.
Let me ask you this, Coles. Do you think he knew he was going to get fired and he just said, fuck it, I'm trying to win this game and I don't care what? I think he did too. That's what I think. I think he got wind from somebody. Somebody tipped him off and said, you're out after this game regardless, so do whatever you want. I also found it interesting. They said, a lot of the players of the Texans noticed that the owner had traveled and the GM had traveled to the game, which they don't usually do. Mm-hmm. So it was like they're just going to can him after the game. So I think that kind of
who did they beat again?
The Colts, the fucking Colts. The Colts kill me. And I'll just go into this bad beat segment right here. 2 terrible beats. The Colts 4th and 20. They're up 7. I had the Colts -3. I had them -6 in game. The 4th and 20, and they throw that thing up into the end zone and it goes right through that dude's hands for the Colts. The Texan guy catches it, touchdown. Then they go for 2 and get it, of course. And that's the end of that one. A terrible one. And then that Jets game, the Dolphins, that was just horrible. First of all, Joe Flacco and this guy that's going to start Skylar Thompson this week. He's going to start a playoff game. That was an absolutely terrible game. 6-6 the whole way. Now, no points being had in that game. And then the Dolphins get the late field goal off of all the Steeler fans were complaining because they think it wasn't a penalty, which set up the winning field goal, which knocked them out of the playoffs, which is one of the feel-good moments of my weekend anyway. But then after that, the Jets get the ball back with time. And, of course, they start the lateral fiasco. Here we go. The hijinks. Throw it backwards to this guy. Throw it backwards to this guy. Well, guess what? Safety. Jets are catching 3 or 3.5. They lose by 5, and you lose. So just misery.
And that one other thing about Week 18, hats off to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because they were in Green Bay, and they knew that they were eliminated, right? Mm-hmm. They just went out and they said,
"We're dragging you down with us."
They seemed to play pretty free-spirited. I think that relaxed them a little, and they had nothing to lose, obviously.
Yeah, because like I asked that Dan Campbell before the game, what's your motivation? Because you're not making a playoff. So I think he said, well, we don't want them to go either. Mm-hmm. So and they played like it too. That was great.
Well, they're building a rivalry for next year. They might be the favorites.
I hope they can just roll with that momentum and take it into the 2023.
Rogers was saying a lot of stuff about the Lions too. So the Lions players took that to heart and.
Good for them, man. That, to me, that's a reflection of their coach too. I mean,
it is. That guy got a lot of criticism. Listen. If you're a Packer fan, you'd probably rather have Dan Campbell than that idiot you have. That LaFleur guy, he just looks. Something about him just makes me think he's so unsure about himself. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't look like a coach to me. Like he looks very timid and scared. And if I was Aaron Rodgers, I'd be getting the hell out of that place.
Yeah, it's probably time.
Because honestly, he's still. I mean, the people bitch like Jub's dad. Oh, Aaron Rodgers sucks or whatever, and he's done with him, and he's tired of hearing about him. And I kind of agree with all that stuff. But what do you think the Packers' record would have been this year without him? Like maybe 1-2 wins. Yeah. I mean, they would have been bad. So I still think he's got something left.
But my God, they said he hadn't thrown for 300 yards since last year.
All up to your system. You're you have no tight end. You have all rookie wide receiver. I mean, I don't know.
They got a tight end.
They got Jordan Love waiting in the wings.
Don't they have Mercedes Lewis?
Yeah, but he's basically I mean, honestly, Mercedes Lewis, they got more out of him at tight end than they did the younger guys. That Tunyon guy hasn't panned out.
No, I just always liked that guy.
Now, Mercedes is a beast. He's a big man.
Matt, by the way, do you have any idea? Did David Bakhtiari play?
He did.
He did.
Yeah, Bakhtiari played. Yeah, he was ready to go.
He's always hurt.
Every week he was hurt. He's a badass. He hadn't given up a sack all year, but he only played in so many games. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, we're going to take a break on Bettor's Last Stand. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit about NHL, NBA, a little tennis, a little golf, and then close it out in segment 3 with the NFL. Lots of fun stuff ahead on Bettor's Last Stand. We'll be right back.
This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
All right, welcome back into Bettor's Last Stand, show number 24. This is the second time we've done Bettor's Last Stand in the beautiful studio. So again, shout out to Jub for all his efforts. Him and his brother have been working hard down here, making this place look great. Be sure and check out all our stuff that Jub does on our YouTube channel and all of our social media at the Pine Room Podcast. Jump on there and get on our shop, thepineroomshop.com. We've had some people getting Christmas orders, which has been nice. Nice to see people sporting. I got my Bettor's Last Stand sweatshirt on right now. So good stuff out there. Check it all out. Soup and stuff. Soup's always hard at work. He's got new guests all the time. You guys have been starting your new workout regiment with one of his guests, Brad Becca. So that's going well for you guys. So lots of stuff on the way. Be sure and check us out on the radio. We had a really good interview with Coach Crutchfield, our Monday show on WKKX. 2 to 3 every Monday. We have really a good time. It's fun, and I think we did a pretty good interview the other day. Jub, what did you think?
Yeah. It was really good. Like we said, I think on the podcast, we said that somewhere where the radio is kind of tough because you're so limited on your time. And we got some good questions in and had a little bit of fun. But it was really good. It went really well. And if you were listening to this and you want to hear more of that, of course you can go to our YouTube and look up the one we did on a couple months ago. But you can also go to WKKX, thewatchdognetwork.com, and listen to all our past shows on the radio and listen to some guests we've had on there. Listen to our Christmas show, all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and
We've had a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody who's helped us out, all of our Watchdog friends, Rocky, Kayleen, Howard, the whole group, Lola. They've been really great. Jake Robinson setting us up in this office. We've had a lot of people helping us out, and hopefully we're making them proud. You guys are working with Belmont Savings Bank on your little exercise regimen. So lots of good stuff coming from the Pine Room people. So appreciate all the support, and we'll keep up the good work, hopefully. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit, guys. We're going to talk a little bit. First, let's hit on some hockey. Last night in hockey, Chris, overs in the first period, 10-0. How about that? And the Penguins led the way with the 3-3 game after one. Trailing 3-0, tied at 3, and then they end up holding on 5-4.
The basketball game last night, and I got an update, 1-0, then 3-0. When I left to go home, it was right before 9. It was 5-3, but I saw it was 3-3 after 1.
Yep.
My gosh.
Yeah, not a whole lot of defense there. Penguins coming back off the road trip. It was a good spot probably to play the Canucks plus the goal and a half. Canucks just ridiculous in their first period overs, 29-1. They're 19-1 on the road with a goal in the first 10 minutes. I mean, just nuts.
Well, I heard them talk. They said Vancouver's really got a shaky defense.
Yeah, they do.
They give up
blow a lot of leads.
Yeah,
score some goals, but blow a lot of leads. Bruce Boudreau. Chris, any other observations hockey-wise?
Well, I didn't see you Sunday down to Vets. I went in after the Steeler game. It was dinner time, whatever. And not many people there, but there was at the one table there was Mark, Weeks, and Tommy. And the Pens were playing that night, and they've been playing like dog shit. And I said, hey, guys, I'm betting the Pens tonight. All three of them just, what's wrong with you? And they just were berating me. And I said,
even Weeks?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Weeks knows his hockey. I figure he.
And I said, well, they're playing the Coyotes. They're not very good. And And I did bet it, and I won. So I just, I mean, every now and then I can get one right, but like
all tough three,
atmosphere there in
all
three of them.
The Gila Monster Arena, or whatever the hell it's called.
And so with the 5,000.
Yeah, they said it's a cool environment. It's probably like going to a Pac Nailer game.
Yeah, but anyway, so I won that, and it was funny, and they rode me pretty good, but in the end, I was victorious.
See, look, you're getting hot with the bets. I tell you, you had the you gave out Georgia the other night on the Instagram. You're riding hot. That might be 2 in a row, Penguins and then Bulldogs.
Yes, but the Penguins got a tough week coming up, a tough weekend.
They got the Jets next, right?
At home, and then they got to go to Carolina, where they it's a bad matchup.
Tough games. They need to get Letang back. They need to probably get Jari back. Yeah, their Penguins are just going to be up and down all season. I don't know. I think from a betting standpoint, just jump on these teams with the first periods and the overs. The Vancouver, Anaheim, Calgary. I mean, these Western Conference teams don't play any defense at all. Those first period numbers are something to jump on. The trends are pretty strong. The unders, Carolina and the Islanders seem to be the only 2 teams that kind of trend to the under. Edmonton really good goal in the first 10.
And I was just looking at that when I was going to say, with the high powered offense they got, and with McDavid.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 19-3 at home, and go in the first 10.
Yeah.
I mean, they've covered that 19. Wow, that's
and
McDavid's just stupid.
And those numbers in hockey tend to hold up. It's not like something else. You like, oh well, it's like roulette or something, and it's hit black like 27 straight times. There's got to be a red, and then green pops up. But
like 4 weeks from now, they're not going to be like 19-25.
I mean, I would highly doubt it would take almost a change in tactics.
Yes,
or I don't even know. In that case, for the overs, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you can be bad if you're bad on defense. It's just as important as you being good, because you can score and you give up goals.
Did you see that goal he scored last night?
Yeah,
how he stole that puck, just went up behind him.
Yeah, he's
pickpocket, come down and just fires a wrist shot. That guy, they got everything.
Yep, scoring is starting to trend upward a little bit in the NHL, so it's a good thing. Keep an eye on those trends. I'm going to give out a couple NHL picks probably this weekend when I give Joe my plays for tomorrow. Before we shift to NBA, I wanted to go over a couple of notes just industry-wide. Mattress Mac, he got beat around. He finally got beat, I guess. He had been riding the Astros, been riding really strong, and then he took TCU money line and lost $1.5 million. But again, for him, he was wheeling wheelbarrows of money out, so I don't think it hurt him too bad. But just interesting. I don't know if he just did that out of just pure that he likes the team. I'm assuming because it's a Texas team. But I don't think if you asked him if he thought that was a great bet, he probably would say no. I was betting with my heart. Next thing, Chris, how about Bernie Kosar up to his usual? I think it's wrong they fired him. For those of you who don't know, Bernie got fired from the Browns radio network for wagering.
But wasn't it for a charity, or what was it?
That's what I thought. I thought it was like one of those things where he's going to make a bet for charity or something. And no, NFL have none of it.
What's the matter if a radio guy bets on it?
It's terrible. Yeah. It's ridiculous. NFL is just so silly with that stuff.
Control the outcome.
They put the betting logos all over their stuff now, all over their commercials. They have no problem taking people's money to watch their crappy product. But then when this guy does it, like, what could he do to influence a game? Like, it's silly.
Not $19,000.
Yeah.
And again, I totally agree that he shouldn't get fired. I mean, just give him a warning, or just say, look, we don't want you to do that. I mean, just to get fired.
Yeah, that's
but none of this surprised me because it, like you said, it's jammed down your throat. There's commercials everywhere now, radio commercials, the TV ads, gambling, and then I guess
then the radio guy has hurt the integrity of the game. Like, how?
I thought for sure it was some type of charity, or he was going to do something.
You know who they ought to be getting rid of when they have questionable things is the officials. They're the ones who can influence the games. They're the ones
they have
the integrity questions. And I'm not saying that. We obviously know officials. We like officials. A lot of them we don't like, because there's a lot of corrupt ones out there, and we know that to be a fact. A lot of people don't want to say that, but it's absolutely for sure. And it's been exposed. I mean, the NBA had the biggest betting scandal in the history of sports, which we discussed about it on a podcast way back about Tim Donaghy. But this stuff probably goes on, and for Bernie Kosar to get fired, I just don't see.
But did you like once they went live with the Ohio betting, who made the first bet?
Who was it?
Pete Rose.
Oh yeah. No, I did.
Well, was
I
that where was that in Columbus?
No, I think it was in Cincinnati.
It was Cincinnati,
I believe. Yeah,
and he made the first bet.
Yeah,
you see that, Cools?
Yeah.
You bet the Reds to win the World
great.
Series.
Yeah, what a bet.
Good for Pete.
Yeah. Stick it up your ass, Major League Baseball. He's a Hall of Famer.
I think Pete's 80 now.
Yeah. Well,
79.
Let him in the Hall.
I know.
I just remember him getting body slammed by Kane. And the Phoenix Suns gorilla.
Yeah.
On Monday Night Raw.
That got him in the WWF Hall of Fame.
Right.
He got tombstone.
He took a dive. He probably got a payoff for it too. But lots of crazy things. Just real quick, Circa Millions winner. Those guys, I don't know if you saw the highlights of that, but these guys had the Lions plus 4.5 in the Circa Millions contest, won $6 million. That's not bad. You were sweating that one out, and then the guys in the Survivor pool, there was 2 guys left. They had the Jags and the Seahawks this week, so they split $6 million. And then on the other side of that,
that bad beat.
Oh yeah, that guy had the Colts. That's just awful. He would have won $2 million, so he would have split it 3 ways with the Jag and the Seahawk guy. So
how much were they betting?
No, they weren't. It's like a buy-in, so you it's $1,000 entry, and it's a Survivor. You can't pick the teams twice, and you go, and these guys went 20-0 or whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the one guy had the Colts up 7 with like 18 seconds left, and he lost.
Oh my God!
It's as bad as the guy a couple weeks ago. We talked about it on here. The guy on Christmas Eve who had the Raiders needed the Raiders, and then that disaster, and the Steelers come back and won. But I don't know. There's just always, every night there's something crazy. Every weekend there's something crazy. A couple of bets, 766,000 on TCU plus 12.5. A guy had at BetMGM, and 330K on TCU and Georgia under. You could have burned those tickets real quick on Monday night. It's just crazy. The people do have this much money, and they bet with their hearts still. And I don't know. It's not a smart tactic. So, but anyway, that's none of us. None of us are throwing that kind of money around. So, for fun and amusement only, right, Job?
Yeah, that's all. The message is this program is for informational, entertainment purposes only. Make sure to bet within legal state confines and yada yada. Yada. You'll hear it. You'll probably have already heard it.
Yes. All right. So let's talk a little NBA here. Cooley, our NBA aficionado. All right, so I ask you this every time you're on the show. When are the Heat going to get it together?
Dude, did you see them last night?
They won, right?
Yeah.
They won by one?
They won, yep.
Last night was a wild game. We're down Hero, we're down Bam, we're down
Is Hero,
Lowry.
like, done? I know he's got an Achilles injury, but is it...
No, he's okay.
Is it just like a strain?
Yeah, I think he's fine.
Well, you played a little bit better because you've had 2 games in a row by 1 point, right? You lost one and you won one.
So we've been better. Last night, did you guys see Dwayne Dedman at all? You see what he got into an argument with Coach Spoelstra, and they were yelling at each other, and so he gets tossed from the game because he slapped a Theragun, like a massage gun, onto the court. So he gets tossed, and we're already down to 9 players, so now we're down to 8. And then
Come on, Dwayne.
You got to keep your composure, Cools.
Oh, he's an idiot, man.
He could have been like the Packer guy. At least he didn't shove the trainer.
Oh, yeah, that was class. And then the other guy chested him, or gave him the...
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
But then the Heat set a record. They made 40 free throws, 40 for 40.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
40
insane.
That's really impressive, actually.
I couldn't believe it. But, yeah, the Heat... They're on some trade rumors as of right now. I'm hoping it.
You're still hanging on to a playoff spot.
Yeah, you're 8.
Barely.
You're 8th. You're in the 8th spot.
So
maybe they'll
make
keep on.
Moves, man.
What anything from the Eastern Conference since the last time we talked? Chris, your Cavaliers.
Yeah, they lost last night to
They covered though.
Well, that's the most important. What was that?
I think when I got them plus 2.5. I think they ended up going off a favorite though, but I'd bet it early in the day. And got him plus 2.5.
Yeah, well, and Donovan Mitchell made his return to Utah.
And,
threw in 46.
He's good.
Couldn't
man.
win.
Yeah, he's very good. But I don't know. The Cavs are right now. They're 5th in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys see any? I mean, obviously the Celtics, Nets, Bucks. Nets have been playing a lot better since they.
Now Durant's out for a month.
Yeah, that hurts them a lot.
He got hurt against the Heat.
But Bucks, Sixers. I mean, that Eastern Conference playoff, the top 5 is pretty good. Pacers have been pretty good too. I saw Dickie down on Main Street wearing a Pacers sweatshirt today when I was driving by. Yeah, I didn't know he was a Pacers fan.
Where did he get that?
Go down and see Dickie.
He probably got that on the discount rack. I mean,
you think?
Yeah, but geez, I saw like the Pistons, 11-33. God.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I gave them out as a team that I really liked this year. Then Cade Cunningham got hurt, and then they had the kid from Purdue. I thought was going to be good, but maybe next year pick them to finish dead last. Brad's Bulls are still hanging around too. I wasn't very high on them, but they've been scrappy lately. They've been playing.
Yeah, the 6 through 10 seeds in the East are all bunched up together.
How about the Hawks? They've been disappointing, huh?
I don't like their coach.
Yeah.
I forget his name. He coached the Pacers before, and he never gets enough out of his players.
Do you like Trae Young?
It's just he's a very flawed player. I feel like
I agree.
He's super good on offense, but then on defense he's completely. He's like Isaiah Thomas almost, where he's just a traffic cone on defense. Can't guard nobody. Too small.
Yeah, and he is. I mean, what is he, like 6'2"? And
he's not real like put together physically. Either.
No, he's not.
He's a very unimpressive looking NBA guy. But
well, the two of the surprises in the West, I think, Matt, at least for me anyway, were the Pelicans.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've been
9 games over 500, and if they keep Zion healthy, and
got some new blood up there at the top.
And I'm glad to see the Sacramento Kings actually
relevant. I think
they can score, man.
Yeah,
and they're probably a year or two ahead of schedule. They've actually got finally, because they've made some boneheaded decisions.
They traded Halliburton to the Pacers, and he's been unbelievable this year.
That was bizarre.
They got Sabonis, who he's good, but a good point guard would take you really far. You can't go far without one.
But they're leading the Pacific. I mean, they're only 3 games over 500, but still, that's just good to see them. And, you know, when you said about shooting, the Cavs played out there, I don't know, it's a while ago, and it might even have been in Cleveland. I don't know. But anyway, I saw the highlights. And I think they made 17 threes that night.
Oh, my God.
The Sacramento did. And I was like, man, they got some talent on offense. So I don't know. It took me back to those days when they had who, Matt? Vlade and some of those.
Chris Webber.
Webber. That was the other guy.
Doug Christie. Mike Bibby.
Yes.
Jason Williams.
Yeah, there you go. I love Jason Williams.
Those were
awesome.
The white chocolate.
Yeah, he was really good.
He was fun to watch. He played for the Heat for a little bit, too.
Yes, he did.
Really liked
55. But, yeah, it good. And you know what? Well, the best out of all of it is the Lakers are in last place. In the Pacific. And
I hope, bad. So bad.
I feel bad for Savion because he's a big Laker guy. He's always holding out hope.
He'll be all right. He's got the Jags.
Yeah.
The
forget about the Lakers, and he's got baseball seasons coming soon.
Was he a baseball guy?
Yeah. He likes everything. He likes the Dodgers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bandwagon.
Well, we can cheer for them because of Michael Grove. So
that's true.
Yeah.
So they're a Pine Room team. You know. If Michael gets traded, then sorry, say
unless he gets to the Buccos.
Oh God,
I'd love to see that.
I'd feel terrible for him if he ended up.
There was a graphic design job open for the Pirates. I was going to apply for it, but I don't know if that's somewhere I want.
You wouldn't be putting out too many winning pictures.
Nothing. What would you do?
Nothing pay you below.
You'd be doing photo shoots with the Pirate Parrot all the time or something. Be all that was good.
Hey, could you get like the parrot on the podcast?
He can't talk.
I know. We could get
have an interpreter.
Get that the dumbass from the Penguins because he
Iceberg.
He always pounds that drum like a
boo boo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hijinks goes like
boo. They're gonna start beatboxing there.
Mascots are dumb.
You don't like mascots?
I liked it back in the day. I liked the San Diego Chicken.
Right, Philly Fanatic, San Diego
the Fanatic.
Chicken.
Well, one of our
Tommy Lasorda got in a fight with that Philly Fanatic at one time.
One of our what do we say? Staff. One of our guys.
Oh, Soup. He's a former mascot.
Well, he was really good.
What was he? Bucky the Beaver and Topper the Bear. Yeah. What was that West Banco thing he was? Was that a bear or a beaver?
That Bucky the Beaver. Yeah.
Did he? Now I know the Soup's going for. He's got like an interview coming up or a promotion.
It's actually for a mascot job. He didn't tell anybody that.
Is that on his resume?
I think it is.
Oh yeah, it is.
I'm almost certain it is.
Yeah.
It should be. He's well-rounded.
He was really good at it too. Yeah.
But do you think there'd ever be a situation where there'd be a really hard decision between two employees, like who they're going to hire, and they see that Soup's got a year as a
mascot,
a college mascot.
Well,
that would make me hire him. I know that.
You know what? It tells me that he's energetic.
Yeah.
He's energetic. I mean,
he can relate without his voice.
Exactly. He's good at high fives, clapping with those big paws on,
dancing.
Yeah.
His dance moves. Yeah. Oh.
The dancing bear.
Just
all right.
Dancing bear.
Dancing Topper the Bear. All right, back to NBA. Anything you guys like from a betting standpoint? Any dark horse? I mean, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's kind of too early. I will say this: that the trend that I always mention on this show, the playing against the team off the 3+ game road trip, returning home. It was 4-0 already this week. It's a good trend. So I would say people get out there, check it out. NHL and NBA, it works pretty well. You can take the team plus the points. You can go the money line in the hockey. If it's a team who's like last night, I bet the Canucks plus 1.5. Penguins were in that spot, and it was a cover. So keep an eye out on that. That hits about 75 to 80%. It's one of the few trends that I've seen over the years that is very solid week in, week out across those two sports.
Because the Penguins hadn't been at home since
and they spent an extra day on the road with Letang's dad's funeral too. So
so they got in real late.
Very late. So it was a good angle. Check it out. Cools, any parting thoughts on NBA?
I'd like to see what the Kings are, what the over-under is, how good they've done.
Well, I'll tell you, they're probably going to be over their win total. I don't know what it was, but
they're at 21 right now.
I wonder, one thing that I would like to take a look at is their to make the playoffs or not make the playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
I think that I don't know if it would be still plus money or not, but they're a team that I would say. Now, do you worry about a team like that hitting the wall, or do you think that they can continue to play like that? Because obviously their front office didn't expect them to be this good already. I'm trying to find if they had it updated. Oh, here we go. To make the playoffs, let's see here. The Pacers are right now a favorite to make the playoffs. The Hawks now are minus 130 to the no. So let me go through and ask you you two guys. Pacers minus 160 to make the playoffs and plus 130 to miss the playoffs. What do you guys say, yay or nay? That they will.
That's a good one.
I'm going to say the Pacers will
make it.
Yes. Definitely.
And that's a fair. What do you say, Cools?
I could see them missing it because I could see the Bulls or somebody making a little run there.
And they are another team that maybe their luck starts to run out a little bit too, but you can get a plus price on the nose.
Well, they scare me because of the trade deadline. I don't know what they're
if there'll be buyers or they'll try to move
Mm-hmm.
pieces. The Hawks might be sellers right now. What do you guys think? Minus 130 to the no, plus money on the yes to make the playoffs for the Hawks.
Where's let's see, the Hawks 19 and 21. I don't know. And the other day when you talk about them being sellers, and I don't know if someone was just making this up, but have there been any rumblings about them looking to trade Trae Young? Did I hear that, or did somebody make that up?
It sounded like everybody's up for potential.
I've seen a lot about John Collins.
He always seems to be a guy talked about.
In trade rumors, man, and they just haven't pulled the trigger.
I would probably lean no on the Hawks. I don't see them getting it together. They say they got some turmoil. Cooley, you might be right about the coach too.
I could see the Pacers and Knicks falling out, and the Hawks and the Bulls sneaking in.
Okay, Knicks right now minus 115 to make the playoffs, minus 105 not to. Knicks will be a coin toss. They're just, it matters how their health and then the week of the playoffs if they make the last push.
Sellers too.
They could be, but the Knicks
Knicks
the roster just is so
clunky.
It's just they have like all their players are like be like the third or fourth best guy on a team.
Yeah.
It's all made up of third and fourth best guys. What about Kings right now minus $2 to make the playoffs? So pretty strong there. Yeah. If you thought the Kings were going to miss it, plus 160. And then you get some of these teams. What about Raptors? Minus 180 to the no. I don't think they turn it around. What do you guys say?
I don't either.
No.
I think they're a lost cause.
Yeah.
What about
go ahead, Chris.
No, I'm just because I saw last night. I think the Warriors played. I forget who they played.
Curry came back.
Yeah.
They're minus 550.
Okay, so I see they're right now that they're the 8th seed or 2020. So they're getting healthy again.
Yeah.
They don't have much room to mess around now.
No, they don't. They're going to be playing into playing games. Although I tell you this, look out for a team like whoever is in those top seeds and they get to play them early in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That really works against the teams like Denver and whoever else will be up near the top. Yeah, because you may end up getting the Clippers and the Warriors like really early in your playoff run, and that could be taxing because you could see either one of those teams knock people off.
You a fan of Memphis?
Yeah, they're all right. I like them. What about Portland? Any thoughts on them? Minus 160, no. Plus 130 to the yes.
I hate Portland.
2 one-man dependent.
Stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, I agree. And then the Utah Jazz. That'll be the last one. Minus $3 to the no. Plus 230. Yeah, I think they're finished.
Not making it.
I think they're finished. They got off to a good start, but
Jordan Clarkson tries to fight somebody every game. Every game he gets tossed for squaring up with somebody. They're ridiculous. You wonder
what if he thinks that makes him play better. Or
I don't know.
I don't either. Chris, right now, our last NBA thing before we switch gears to tennis. Cavaliers over under 50.5 wins. Minus 105 to the over, minus 115 to the under. What do you say? It's probably going to be right around that.
That's going to be a good one.
Well, right now, 26-16, 61% win percentage. I'd say they'll get it by a couple.
It'd be interesting to look down if you had time, go through the schedule and see where you think their losses can come.
But they've already had, and the weird thing is again, I guess one of those, any given nights, but the Raptors are last in the Atlantic Division. They're 18-23, but they've beaten the Cavs 3 times this year.
Yeah. They just have your number. That's silly.
NBA.
That doesn't make any sense at all, but yep. All right. Well, we'll talk more NBA on the shows upcoming, and obviously, I'm sure once we get down to playoff time, Cooley's going to have some really good picks on the series as we get closer to spring. We'll also keep on the NHL, and you can check our PRP picks out. I usually give them out. Nobody else has contributed in a while. I'm the only one. But,
I'm in tomorrow
at the Pine Room Podcast. On our social.
Getting hit you with some winners tomorrow, Jub.
Check them out. Jub will have them on Instagram, and you can follow some winners. We've done our BLS. I didn't want to mention this at the beginning of the show, actually. Our BLS preseason football best bets between Luke, Coach, and I, we went 26-1, and a lot of plus prices there. It was really, really good.
Wow.
So I know we give out a lot of picks, and people maybe don't know whether to take us serious as pickers. When we give some of our better thought-through picks in the right spots, and we went through, if you're just new to watching our show or listening, we previewed every conference, all the power conferences of college, and all the divisions in the NFL. We gave out a lot of season-long props, win totals, player props, season-long player props. So we had a lot of winners. I mean, we had just like Jags over their win total, Titans under their win total, CeeDee Lamb over on yards and touchdowns, the Eagles over 9.5 wins, Saquon Barkley over yards and touchdowns.
That division.
And how about this one? How about at the end, Jerry Jeudy? I actually got him over 950 yards. He had no chance in his last couple of weeks. He got to 972, so that was a winner. We had Denver under their win total. That was Luke. Under their win total of 10. We had the Arizona under their win total. They won 4 games. We had Coach gave that one out. Luke gave out the Seahawks over their win total. They were 8-8. In college, Luke had Vanderbilt over their win total. I had Minnesota over their win total. Maryland was a over for Luke. Virginia Tech an easy under for me. Coach had Wake, which ended up being a loser because their quarterback was out for a while. Louisville under, or actually over 7-5. That was a winner. I mean, we had a strong year. Coach's UCLA Bruins beat Lauren the Better on that one, 9-3. Hopefully the shirt's in the mail. Wonder if Soup gave her your dad's address yet.
I have no idea.
I meant to ask him that last week. So, but anyway, we were pretty proud of that, and we talked about actually starting a paid betting service for our very top plays. We may do that. So. Keep an eye on that. We're going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to talk just a tiny little bit about tennis. Australian Open draw is tomorrow. I can't really give you a whole lot of things that I super love yet because I want to see how the brackets come out. But I thought in the men's side, it's going to be tough to beat Novak Djokovic. He's allowed to play in that right now. He's a plus 110 favorite. It's going to be really, really hard to beat him. Most likely, Daniel Medvedev will probably be the other finalist, I would guess, if all holds to form. But I thought a couple of guys were taking a shot on early. Carlos Alcaraz is out of the tournament.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's hurt. So he's obviously a really good player and a really good up-and-comer, and he's going to kind of carry the torch of tennis for the next 20 years probably. Felix Auger-Aliassime, I thought at 18-1, he's a guy that's probably not quite ready to win yet, but he's a guy that keep an eye on and maybe make it to the quarters. I thought Matteo Berrettini, who's a guy I've been really high on, he's just never really panned out to be able to win these majors. I think he's another guy. Take a look at his bracket. You may get a favorable bracket if he's not matched up in there as a 2 seed in the bracket with Djokovic or something like that. You may get a shot of seeing him advance to the quarters or the semis. And then Stefanos Tsitsipas, another guy I thought he's made the semis the last 3 years in the Australian Open. Really good player from Greece. He just, I don't know, for whatever reason in these matches late, he can't seem to get over the hump. But these guys are all really good young players. Men's tennis pretty good once these big names, Djokovic and Nadal, are gone. There's some good young and up and coming guys. Do we have any
Americans to hold our hopes on?
Well, there's that Fritz kid who's pretty good.
Taylor Fritz.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's decent. There's a couple of guys. I'll tell you, Francis Tiafoe is a really good player too. Just high energy, scraps for every point. I like to play Francis Tiafoe matches over because he holds serve almost every time and he makes the other guy work. So I lean to the over almost every time he plays because he's just got a ton of energy. He doesn't get tired. I mean, he can just go and go and go. And in the Grand Slams, you play 5 sets for the men. So a lot of times guys who are well conditioned can win maybe when they're not quite as good because they can outlast people. And Tiafoe is definitely one of those guys. And then there's a really young Danish kid named Holger Rune, or Rune. I've heard it pronounced both ways. He's going to be exceptional. He's like 20 years old. Right now, he's about 3-1 to make the quarterfinals. Take a look at him. He's 20-1 to win, and he's probably not ready to win anything yet, but going to be a really good player to keep an eye on down the road. I'm going to give picks out this weekend once the draw comes out and give kind of a couple of picks to win the tournament for the men, and then I'll be giving the weekend picks out on the Pine Room Podcast Instagram, as Jubb does great graphics for that. I'll put those out every week of the tennis. I like to follow tennis a lot, so hopefully we can find you some winners, find some value. On the women's side, wide open. The women, you could probably pick 15 girls that can win this. It's going to be a great, great tournament. You have Caroline Garcia, who's been just taking the world by storm. You have Swiatek, who's been on top of the world for the last few years. Jessica Pegula playing the best tennis of her life right now. She's a United States girl. Really, really good. She's like 3-1 to make the semis. She made the quarters the last 3 years in the Aussie Open, so I would definitely keep an eye on her. She's one to take a look at. Sabalenka, the Belarusian, is on top of her game right now. Her serve is ridiculous. She's plus 175 to make the semis. I would definitely take a look at her. Osaka is out, so you don't want anything to do with her. Yes. Bibi Andreescu is still kind of injured. She's not really back to her game yet, so I'd probably pass on her. Elena Rybakina, she's going to have a chance. Maria Sakkari, I've been waiting for her to break through. She can get probably to at least the quarters. The little girl from Greece, she's very good. Plus $4 to make the quarterfinals. I would definitely take a look at her. I'll be against Ons Jabeur, though. I don't really like her on the surface. I'll probably fade her. I think there could be some upsets. And I got to say, I think the Americans got a chance. I think between Pegula, Coco Gauff, and Daniel Collins, I think the 3 of those, I think you could probably see 2 of them in the semifinals or the quarterfinals. I think Coco Gauff's got a chance of making a deep run here. She's been trending upward, and Daniel Collins has been fantastic. And as I mentioned, Pegula has been on top of her game. So keep an eye on those Americans. You can actually get an American to win right now on DraftKings plus 350. I think that's worth a shot. It's not the best odds, but you get 3 shots. I would say those are the 3 that you're most likely winners.
Just for an American to win, plus 350?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
And you also, like Sophie Kennan, she's injured, but she won this, I think, 3 years ago. So it can be done. Americans have had some success here. The American girls have. So, again, waiting for the draws tomorrow to see the final brackets, and then I'm going to give some picks out on our Pine Room Picks Instagram page. So be looking for those on Friday after you listen to the show. Check them out. Jubb will have them up, and I'll give you some futures and maybe some first-round matchups as well. And then one last thing. I don't think your dad left any golf picks this week, but just to recap golf, did you guys follow any of the golf over the weekend? Cooley, do you watch golf since you play a lot of golf?
No, I'm not really too big into golf yet.
Okay.
I do want to get into it more, though.
Right. Yeah, well, golf presents an interesting chance to make money because you can get guys at good prices, good players. You know what I mean? Like last week, Colin Morikawa was up 7 shots going in, and he's really good. And he collapsed. And John Rahm was like, he shot 10 under the final day. Great in-play opportunities in golf. So take a look. If you see a guy, Justin Thomas, John Rahm caliber, 6-7 shots back on Sunday, throw $5 on him. And you can get these guys at 20, 30, 40 to 1. And they have a chance. I mean, these guys are good. I mean, golf is at an all-time high right now. You can see guys shooting really low scores, having great performances, and a lot of times the pressure gets to these guys. Morikawa's won majors, which is surprising to me that he collapsed like that on an easy course, but they said that he just recently got engaged. So that could spell doom, Chris.
Yep.
They said he hasn't won since then. So as Champ says, the curse will be upon you till you die.
Yep.
So this week, though, interesting that they're still in Hawaii, as Chris mentioned earlier. I think Waialae Country Club. I got a couple guys I like this week. I think Tom Kim, this Korean kid, he's really good. He's 11-1. He's one of the favorites this week. He'll be strong. I'm not going to bet him. I think the price is a little too low. I thought Keith Mitchell and Russell Henley were 2 guys maybe to take a shot on for top 10s. I like Hideki Matsuyama. I think a top 10 for him or top 5. His game's starting to come back. He's 18-1 to win, and I think he could be a potential winner there, but I really do like him in the top 10. I think his game's pretty strong right now. And then a guy I like as a longer shot, around 20-1, Brian Harmon, 18-20-1, left-handed guy. His game's really come back in the last couple of years. He's playing really good golf right now. And then Cam Davis, another guy. He's around 40-1, good young player. Top 5, you can get him plus 750. Top 10 plus 360. So those are guys that I would take a look at this week. I wanted to ask Coach before he left if he had any.
I like Corey Connors.
Corey Connors, a Canadian. He's good.
25-1.
Yep, I like him too, Chris.
He's strong.
He can play.
Young guy.
Yeah, but as I was saying to Cooley, golf you can get really good odds on guys. I mean, you get Jordan Spieth 14-1. There's a lot of good players, so you can get into these deep fields and get guys that are 40, 50, 60-1 who are good. And if you don't make it to tomorrow morning where you or actually this tees off later, it's in Hawaii, so yeah, all day tomorrow. But if you don't get your action in by Thursday, play on Friday or Saturday. See where guys are. Look at it for a good guy that's had a bad first round and play.
And see, Coles, you and I are like the same because you don't bet that much, do you? Or very. And I'd love to do what he says. What Matt said about like the last day of the last round. Throw down $5-10, whatever.
Pick
and if
a
you
couple
lose,
guys.
Who gives a shit? But if you win, you get a nice payout.
Yeah.
And I never think to do that. And I want to bet. I want to bet some of these Australian Open matches. I just never think to do it. I don't know why.
Yeah, if you have the time to do it.
Because I enjoy watching it. I love that tennis.
Yeah, the tennis, I'm so looking forward to it. Really, really happy about that starting up. And with the golf, and there's times last year, I think I had Matsuyama one time at a monster price. You throw down a couple dollars, you could win $400, $500, $600 just for nothing. Just get lucky. A guy gets hot the last day and take a shot. I mean, and there's certain guys in golf that can shoot low scores. Like Matsuyama on the final round, especially if he played bad on Saturday, he's like almost an auto play for me if he's a little bit back in the field because he rarely ever plays 2 bad rounds in a row. Oh, we got some fisticuffs going on between Milan and Torino here in Italian Cup soccer.
Looks like cooler heads are going to prevail.
Very, very testy here at the end. But
Torino.
Yeah. So,
1-0.
Yes, that's the final, but an upset there. Big upset. But anyway, we're going to take a break on Bettor's Last Stand and then get into our final segment. We're going to talk NFL coach power ratings going into the playoffs and then get the picks. Even Jubb may participate.
Yes.
So we'll be right back on Bettor's Last Stand.
This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
All right, welcome back into Bettor's Last Stand, our final segment of the day. We're going to jump into the NFL playoffs, but first we're going to go through these coach rankings. I texted Cooley and Chris today when I knew they were going to be on the show and said, get your coach rankings in order of who you're confident in, and I guess this is going to kind of lead to who you like in these playoffs and things like that. But we're going to start by going through these here. So, Chris, I'm going to start with you. If you had to, I don't know how you guys did yours. I ranked all 14 of them.
I did too. Okay. I did all 14. Okay. I just had a couple notes.
So who's your guy in 14th spot? We'll just talk our way back up.
The guy in last place for me was Minnesota Vikings Kevin O'Connell.
I had O'Connell 10th, but I could see. I have no anything to go on with the playoffs.
And I know that now they won. I think I saw they won 11 one-score games or whatever, but they got considerably lucky. And in that Bills game,
but
Kirk Cousins has been getting his brains beat in.
Yeah,
but not that has anything to do with it. I don't know anything about
Minnesota.
I just think they're kind of frauds. I do, and Kirk Cousins.
Too, but I do give him a little bit of credit for winning these close games.
I got him in a way different spot.
So wait a minute. Okay. What did you put him at?
I had him at 10. What did you have him at?
I have him at 5.
Okay. All right. I thought early on in the season I thought I was going to like him, but then
I love his offense.
I do too. I think offensively, I think he's pretty good, and I actually have him at 10, but I probably could. Really, I could almost move him up to 6 if I had, like, anywhere in that range.
I can't wait to hear more of these guys.
Okay. All right, so, Cools, I'll go to you next. Well, who was your lowest rated coach?
Mike McCarthy. I think he is terrible.
He's absolutely terrible.
He's bad.
He's right down at the bottom by your boy, Todd Bowles, because I got him really low, too.
I don't got Todd very high, trust me. Fucking Todd Bowles.
Yes, Todd Bowles, Brandon Staley, and Mike McCarthy were my bottom 3 coaches.
Your bottom 3?
Those were my bottom 3.
Mike McCarthy is so bad.
He's horrendous.
It's unbelievable he even has a head coach and let alone make the playoff.
Honestly, if he didn't have Aaron Rodgers, he would probably not even be in the league anymore. He kind of.
I had him 9th.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe by default. Well, but I mean, you could make a case for that because you don't know about some of these other guys. They've never coached in the playoffs.
That's the thing. And I mean,
so you're kind of guessing.
He does have a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he does.
But he did have Aaron Rodgers. But his playoff record is 10-9. So he's been in a lot of games. Yep. And so that's. I mean, I wasn't going to rank him up there high, but I had him 9th.
All right. So you had. O'Connell pretty low. Who else do you have really low, Chris?
Well,
13th spot.
13th was Brandon Staley.
That's where I have
from the Chargers.
Where do you have Staley, Cools?
I have Staley at 11.
Okay.
And not only just based on the blunders from last week in Week 18, but if you remember, I don't know, it was earlier on in the season when they basically gave that game away or tried to give the game away to the Browns.
Yes.
Instead of running out, they passed.
What were they doing?
And the Browns fucked it up, of course.
Right. Because Stefanski, Christ, if he was in the playoffs, he'd be real low on here, too. He's a buffoon.
He wouldn't even be eligible to be on this
Off
list.
the charts.
Right. Because the one game he did when he was sitting in his basement during COVID. But yeah, so I had Staley 13th, and then I had Mike McDaniel from the Dolphins. They've lost 5 or 6.
I got him 11th,
and I had him 12th.
Mike McDaniel, to me, everybody was trying to give him the Coach of the Year at the beginning of the season. Something about him, I don't know. I just don't trust. I think he's kind of a bullshit artist.
Preppy boy.
Yeah, I think he's kind of full of shit, and I think it's starting to show. Where'd you have McDaniel?
I got McDaniels at 10.
Yep, that's about right.
I was kind of one of those people that fell for him at the beginning of the year. But now, like, when he does all those, like, press conference jokes and stuff, and, that stuff's funny when you're winning.
Right. You're exactly right.
When you lose 7 in a row, this shit gets old.
I agree. I don't know. It's probably too early to make the call on a guy like that. But, I don't trust.
He was dealt a little bit of a tough hand with the quarterback situation.
For sure. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to win with anybody on Sunday, but we'll see. Who was your 13th guy?
13th was Zach Taylor.
Oh, I got him.
I think he is the most relevant coach in football.
Me too. I thought he could. I really do think, and I'm not a Joe Burrow guy at all, but I think he is hiding the deficiencies of Zach Taylor quite a bit.
Yes, I think so too. I think they've covered up.
Our running game's terrible.
He went in spite of him.
Yeah, it's bizarre. They've had such 2 good seasons in a row with as bad as I think he is. Chris, where'd you have Zach Taylor?
I had him at 8th.
Okay.
I had him at 9th. That might be a little bit too high.
I had him at 9th, and I put him ahead of some of the guys that hadn't coached in the playoffs before, and that was about all I could say is, well, he did make the Super Bowl last year.
Right.
And even though I don't think he had anything to do with this at all.
But at least he has the experience. And like you said, there's like 5 or 6 guys that are basically unknown playoff guys because they've never been there. So I had him at 8.
Okay. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. We got kind of the bottom feeders out of the way. So all right, cool. So who was your top coach?
My number 1 is Andy Reid.
Me too.
Godfather. Yep. Yeah. Same.
All right.
Thing.
Unanimous. Andy Reid. I
19
agree.
playoff wins and a Super Bowl.
3 conference championships.
Yes.
He
so
is.
creative
He's
with his
stable.
offense.
Yeah, and I like that he's trusts the enemy. I feel. How about the thing, the merry-go-round? I mean, where did he come up with that stuff?
That's awesome because then it makes it hard to pick up the skill guys. What a play!
It is. I like him.
Somebody was pissed off.
I'm really glad that he won the Super. I know a lot of people have Chiefs fatigue already and stuff, and honestly,
I like the Chiefs.
I do too. I find them to be a likable team, a very likable team. If they're not your team, if you're neutral, I think you're. I think Mahomes is a likable guy. I think he's just revolutionized the quarterback position. I think he's awesome. But
I'm glad we all. I thought you guys would probably say the same thing about him being number 1.
What about number 2, Chris? Who's your number 2?
I had Doug Peterson.
I have Peterson 6, but I can make a case for him up to 2.
I don't know. He won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles
and his team,
and he beat
the Jags. Are bought into him big time.
Yes, and I don't know how great, but and they're playing pretty well, and I think they're going to win the game. So I had him at 2.
I think it was weird how Frank Reich got all kind of credit when they won that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then it turned out Frank Reich doesn't know shit. He's not very good, and maybe Peterson was as good.
And then I heard a team today wants to interview Frank
Reich.
Why?
I mean, how many times? And if anybody hires Dan Quinn again, I mean, how many times are they going to do this? They may as well call Jeff Monterosso or Roger Wildeye. Just give them a chance.
Yeah.
They can't be any worse than these guys.
Yep, I agree.
Bizarre. Dan Quinn, great coordinator, terrible head coach. Can't be. All right, my second was John Harbaugh. I had him high. Cools, who'd you have after Andy Reid?
I got Sean McDermott from the Bills.
I got him 3rd. Him and Harbaugh, to me, 2 and 3. I'm impressed with McDermott. I thought a couple years ago in the playoffs against the Texans he made a couple mistakes, but I like him overall. I think overall he's a very, very good coach. I think the team plays hard for him. I respect him a lot.
When I was doing that list, I had Harbaugh up there. And I dropped him down a few because they blew a few games this year.
They blew a ton of games.
And I'm not saying that.
You're right. That needs to be taken into account.
Yeah. Right.
I think his GM has left him with in a bad spot. Their offensive skill players are just not good enough for the NFL, and I think that's going to work against him. But they're always in the games.
Speaking of the Ravens, real quick, I just want to get your opinion on something.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like Jackson's not playing this weekend.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll ever play again unless they franchise
do you
tag
think if he had already sealed up a big contract, he'd be ready to
go?
Yeah,
guarantee. Yeah. I don't like what he's doing here. I think he's letting the team down. And if I'm them, I'm franchise tagging him twice or I'm trading him. I'm not giving him a contract no matter what. I'd rather just go back to rebuild. This is a franchise that won Super Bowls with Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco. Yeah. So they know how to win. They're not dependent on that. Their front office is starting to scare me a little bit since Ozzie Newsome hung it up. A little bit of a concern, but I don't know. Overall, they usually draft pretty well, and Harbaugh does a decent job. And I'm with you. McDermott, I think, is very strong. What about 4th, Chris? Who would you have there?
I had Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan.
Okay. I got him 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, he's got
you guys are higher on him than me.
Yeah. It's weird because
I do think
sometimes I'm high on him. Sometimes I'm like, man, he's kind of overrated, but I got him at 3.
But they're playing really well.
I agree. Totally agree with that. Wouldn't you guys say about Kyle Shanahan is like when he's good, he's really good. Yeah. But when he's bad, he's really bad. Like he's made some huge – he was the coordinator for the Falcons the year they blew that game against the Patriots. And then they probably should have beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Well, and the other thing that I like about him –
conservative, I think.
He's not really had a – number 1 quarterback.
Yeah. No, I mean he hasn't.
He's got this Brock Purdy guy who's what 5-0. He looks like a
system wise. I think he's very good on offense. But my concern about guys like him is he's so worried about his play calling that he can't manage the game because I feel like they get unaggressive when they're dominating these teams and then they change it up. They get too conservative or whatever. He's got a great defense. I do think he's a pretty good coach. He just worries me in big games. I don't know. And I know Brad will probably be concerned about this, but I'm still going to be picking the 49ers to go very far when we get our playoff picks here in a minute. My number 4, and honestly, this guy may end up being out of the league in 2 years, but what Brian Daboll did with the Giants this year, I'm very impressed with that. Their roster, like, does anybody in your fantasy leagues have a Giants wide receiver? Like, they don't have anybody. The only fantasy player worth anything is Barkley, and I'll tell you, Daniel Jones played good this year. How he got Daniel Jones to be to where he's going to get a contract now is bizarre to me. I think it's a great job by Brian Daboll. I think he should be coach of the year. What'd you guys have in?
I had him at 6.
Okay. I got him at 9.
Okay,
only because it was his first
unproven.
year.
I understand.
And I just thought too, with their lack of talent on offense, other than Barkley, that he's done a hell of a job. And would they go 10-7-1?
Yeah, they won 10 games.
And
they rested guys the last game, so it's really not even a fair depiction. But they won 10 games.
Yeah, so you're right though. He could be a one and done guy, but hats off to him for what he's done.
In 2 years, I'll be saying he's the worst coach in the league. Because sometimes that happens. These guys get a bunch of talent, and then they end up sucking with the good players. Yeah. And they do better with the underachieving expectations. But good luck coaching in New York. That's not for everybody.
That's true.
That's not for everybody.
And you're right too about that, Matt. Because when the expectations get a lot higher and the lights are a little brighter, it feels totally different.
The media, media. Ooh, it's not for everyone. All right, number 5. Cools, who'd you have?
Well, I have Kevin O'Connell at 5.
All right, who'd you have at 4?
4 is Nick Sirianni.
Sirianni. Okay.
I think he's probably be coach of the year this year.
I like him. I'm not like I'm starting to get warm to him. I'm starting to think he's actually really good. I guess we'll see what the playoff run is this year. The only thing that worries me is the last few weeks I thought they were a little dull. Something seems a little off with them. They're still winning. They did drop the 2 in a row. Bounce back a little bit. Jalen Hurts, I don't know if he's 100%. But I think this guy's a good coach. I do. Chris, where'd you have Sirianni at?
I had him at 10th, and that's basically
just
only because I don't. I mean, he's lost his only playoff game, but I kind of like the Eagles though.
Yeah, they're tough.
I mean, he should get some serious consideration for coach of the year. But that was probably just because to me, he's an unknown. So I think
he was a runaway coach of the year winner until they lost those 2 in a row, and then
he
I get it. You're losing with your backup, even if your backup's decent. Number 5 for me, I had Pete Carroll.
Same here.
I got him at
Pete's
7.
Just like stable. Like I give the guy credit. Everybody thought the Seahawks would suck, and he believed in Geno Smith.
What was their? You don't have to look it up, but what was their over under total? Because
we have it right here.
Because Geno played way beyond expectations.
Well, Luke Doyle's a genius because he bet that over 5.5. He gave us that.
And what they win? 9.
They won 8.
1-8.
Nice. No, 9. No, did they win last week?
Yeah,
they won 9 and 8. 9 and 8. Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought? And it was almost like they seemed like they were just throwing their season away, with Geno Smith. And good for Geno. He's probably going to get himself a decent contract.
Yeah, and they drafted well. That Kenneth Walker's a good running back. And their corners that they got in the draft this year are both really good. Yeah. So,
then you know what though? If you went back a few years ago, you'd probably have Pete Carroll way down on the list if you were a Seahawks fan for throwing that goddamn ball to 1.
I feel like a guy like him, he's been around for a long time, and people get sick of him, and they say, I hate him, and he's a dick, He doesn't bother me. I used to not be a big fan, but he's kind of grown on me. I think I respect it. To be able to be, stable, at least being in playoff contention every year in the NFL is hard, and he's done a good job with it.
Yeah, they never really had any dreadful seasons, had they, with him?
I mean, maybe even last year, maybe they won 6, but I mean, they weren't very good last year, but they had a lot of guys hurt, and Russell Wilson was halfway checked out. But I don't know. Is there anybody we missed?
Where did you have Big Mike?
I had Big Mike 12.
12th.
Yeah.
Where'd you have Bowles at, Cools?
I had him at 12.
Okay.
Right above Zach.
I had him at 11.
I had Bowles 14. Because I honestly think if Brady wasn't on the team, they might not
have won a game. They are so bad. It's so sickening.
Who would you rather get rid of, Bowles or Byron Leftwich?
Oh, man. Probably Byron, because at least our defense is kind of solid. We have
I think Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator.
He just can't manage a game to save his life.
No, they can't, and I just don't know why people want to force these guys.
Yeah,
can't you just make $3 million as a D coordinator and be happy to be that? Life pressure's off you. All you're worried about is one side of the ball. To me, that seems like some people, that's what they're made to do.
Yes, and perfect example I think is the guy that coaches the Raiders. Josh McDaniels.
Oh yeah.
He keeps trying to be.
Yeah,
he keeps trying to be a
Bill
head coach.
O'Brien did. I mean,
just be a coordinator.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn.
That's a good life. That's a
great life.
You're making a good living. I don't understand.
Why
these
risk
guys.
being a head coach and now you're out of the league?
Exactly.
You don't have a job.
Right.
Todd Bowles. Have you seen him on the sidelines? He has as much emotion as that wall.
He looks like. He
just wants to go home and watch TV.
Yeah, like he's just tired of being there.
Todd, yell at somebody, please, just once.
Get fired up or something.
Jesus.
All right, well, that concludes our Coach Carousel rankings. That was fun.
That was. I'm glad you gave us a little exercise there, Matt.
All right, so now we're going to talk about these games, and then we're going to finish with our Super Bowl picks. So let's start out Saturday. Seahawks at 49ers, division battle. 49ers 9.5, total 43. I mean, I don't see any way the Niners don't win this game, but in a division game, I wouldn't be surprised if Seahawks cover. I like the under here. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, division games are always a little tricky. We got 2 division games for the 2 seeds.
Yeah, we do.
With the Bills and Dolphins, but I like the 49ers, and I think the under is a good play, too. Geno struggled last time.
Chris? Yeah, no, I'm gonna take San Fran giving the points. Okay. I just think I think they won both games earlier in the season.
Yeah, they did.
And I know they
pretty convincing. Not by giant blowouts, but a typical division.
They won one
game.
by 20, the other one by 8.
Right.
So I'm going to take the Niners to cover that spread.
Okay. Next game, Chargers at the Jags. This is interesting. Chargers opened -2.5. It went down to -1. Now it's back up to -2. Getting some pro action on the Jags. I like the Jags here. I think the Chargers off of I don't know what that was last week with them. With the coach, I feel like that gives a bad.
There's a little disconnect there.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah, and I think if you're in the locker room, you're a little concerned about that. Mm-hmm. You're playing your good guys. You didn't need the game. It's one thing if you play them for a couple drives, just keep them sharp. But I think it sends a bad message. They got to travel all the way across the country here. I thought Jacksonville was absolutely terrible last week. I thought they had no business winning that game. I thought Trevor Lawrence was awful. But I think the Jags are a good team. I think they have a lot of talent. I think Peterson's a good coach. I think they bounce back in style this week, and I think they blow out the Chargers in a high-scoring game. This is one of the few overs I like. I think this could be a shootout. It's hard to discount Justin Herbert because he's really good. So I think there are going to be some points in this game. What do you say, Cools?
Yeah, so I like the over too, but mostly because the Chargers' run game's so weak, and the Jags got a really good run game, and I think that's going to open up the passing game for them. I think that's why they struggled against the Titans. They got a really good run defense.
Yes.
So I like the over, and I don't know, money line's tough, but I think I'm going to go Jags.
Yep.
I'm going to root for Sayes Duval.
Yep, got to go with the Jags. Chris, what do you say?
I'm the same way. I like the Jags. To me, they're like my feel-good team.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they played as bad as you said. When I first turned that game on, I think Tennessee had the ball with the lead. It was before that guy fumbled.
They get one first down, the game's over. They're going to win.
But just that that was pretty cool just to see the Jacksonville place. It was sold out. The crowd was into it, and they won the game. So you're right. I'm not big on the Chargers and their coaching staff. I think they got a good quarterback, obviously. But I'm going to go with the Jags to win this one.
Okay. On to Sunday's games. The Dolphins head up north to the Bills, another division matchup. This game, I mentioned to these guys before we started to come back out of our last break. This thing opened Bills 11 and went down to 9, now back to 13 on the news that Tua will not play. I think that's the best for everybody. They were going to have trouble winning this game anyway, and you got to protect the guy's brain, especially when we just had a guy almost die last week. He kind of wanted to protect the players, and he's had like 3 or 4 concussions that they know of this year, so he needs an off season to get himself right. But I don't know. I don't think the Bills have any chance of losing this game. No. I don't think that Dolphins really even have a chance to cover unless something crazy happens and there's 90-mile-an-hour winds or something. I do like the under. I think the Bills will win this game probably like 34-7 or 34-6, something along those lines.
Are there any weather issues? Do you know
I haven't seen anything of note yet. Nothing yet. So, Chris, where are you going in this game?
The Dolphins have 0 chance.
Yeah.
I think the Bills will something like what you said. They'll probably score in the 30s.
I just don't see how the Dolphins will cross midfield.
No. Skylar Thompson?
Yeah. And after last week against the Jets, and I know the Jets have a good D, but
you know what our favorite buddy Champ says?
It'll never work. Yeah,
Dolphins are done. They're done.
Where are you heading?
It's
going to
be like rewatching TCU versus Georgia.
Yes,
it could be.
It'll probably be. To me, I would say they might be the biggest deficit or the
biggest blowout.
This weekend.
Seeing with their quarterback situation.
Yes,
and I mean you got guys like Tyreek Hill. You think you got a chance all the time,
and they've lost 5.
And I think Mostert might be out as well, so that could be a blow. Yeah,
isn't that weird though how these seasons go? Like, if you're a Dolphins fan, like 10 games in, like man, we're rolling and things are going.
Tua's playing at an MVP level.
And now you barely get in a playoffs.
Look at the Rams. Everything went well for the Rams last year. They stayed healthy. Now they had like 30 guys on injury reserve, and they're terrible. All right, let's go on to the middle game on Sunday, 4:30 kick. The Giants and the Vikings. These teams played just a couple weeks ago. Vikings -3, total 48.5. Taking some play on the over in this game. I like the under, and I'm probably going to lean Minnesota. Now, I'll tell you guys why. I really was going to be on the Giants in this game. I saw this matchup kind of trending a few weeks ago. Played a really close game the last time. The problem that I have is everyone in the world is betting the Giants, and that worries me a bunch. So I will probably take the Vikings. I don't love that bet at all. I'm probably going to zero in on the under, though, in this game. And I know that's tough to do with the Vikings playing an under, but I'm liking the under. I don't know. I don't feel great about either side here, but I'm going to go with the Vikings. What do you say, Cools?
Yeah, I'm a little bit opposite of you, Matt. I'm pretty comfortably taking the Vikings and the over because I like the over. The secondary is bad for the Vikings, and the Vikings score a lot as it is. So I like that.
Chris, what do you say?
I'm going to take the. I think the Giants are going to win this game.
Okay, I can see it.
I hope they do. I just. I don't know. Vikings, to me, I just think they're just kind of like a smoke and mirrors team. I don't know, with Kirk Cousins. But if they don't, if the Giants can rush him and get to him and force him into some, because he's prone to throw some interceptions. So I'll take the New York Football Giants.
Job they'll be doing the skull thing up there at the Vikings. Yeah, that'll be really loud up there. So should be good. I would wish they played outside. That would be a lot better. But anyway, all right. The nightcap on Sunday: Ravens at Bengals. Another division matchup. Bengals now -7. This is probably going to start going up even more. 7.5. I see it some places. Total 42. Down from 44. Lamar Jackson, very unlikely to play. Huntley's supposed to be able to start, but he's a mess too. He's got injuries, couple injuries. If I can get 7.5 or more on this game, I'm taking the Ravens. I know I'm probably a little biased. I would not be surprised if the Ravens won this game. Seems unlikely, but with the coaching matchup, I think Harbaugh's got a chance. They got Justin Tucker. Ravens are kind of built for playoff football, like ugly scores, and they have been the only team that's held the Bengals under 300 yards of offense in both meetings this year, and Ravens barely played any good players last week. So I think it's kind of the Ravens played possum last week, and take another term out of Champ. He likes to say that. So Ravens played possum. I think they got a chance of maybe covering if you can get 7.5. I think the line will go up, so I'd wait on betting the Ravens. And I like under, obviously. This will be a low-scoring game. Chris, where are you heading here?
I'm going to take the Ravens as well, and I don't think there'll be a whole lot of points either. I mean, and you mentioned the coaching because the way we had our coaches ranked, you got Zach Taylor way down, and we had Harbaugh up high. So, and I think Harbaugh will coach him up and be ready. I don't expect the Ravens to win, but I'll take. To take 7, and they'll probably lose a 3 or 4 point game.
Yeah. Cools, what do you say?
I'll take the over.
Okay. Over.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can just see the Bengals scoring.
Okay.
A few.
I mean, they can.
They got DeMar and Mixon. I mean, they obviously got that terrible coach, but I like the over in that game.
Well, I mean, if they can strike early, I guess it's always possible. So we'll see. All right, let's move on to the final game. Dallas at Tampa. Cooley's going to be tight. Maybe a Tuesday call.
Right.
Their High County schools. Dallas opened 3, down to 2.5. Total 45.5. A lot of people on the Bucks. That worries me, Cools. I wanted to play the Bucks. I've been wanting to play the Bucks for about 4 weeks in this game, but it's the same problem I have with Minnesota. And I'm also worried about Dallas. Was so bad as we look up there. There's Big Mike right there, looking like a buffoon on TV. Dallas was so bad. They got thoroughly embarrassed by the Redskins last week. It worries me. I think they'll bounce back this week. I want to bet the Bucks here, but this is either going to be an under bet for me or a stay away. I don't know.
Honestly, coming from a Bucks fan, this is a stay away game. I have no idea what could happen in this game. 2 horrible coaches, Bowles and Big Mike.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm going to root for the Bucs to win.
I think they should make Bowles and Big Mike go in the sumo outfits like you and Soup and play for whoever wins advances. Yeah, Big Mike probably wins.
I do not want to watch this game at all. Not even a little
But you will, and you'll be clinging to it, and just
from the kickoff.
You'll be emotionally invested. Chris, what are you thinking?
I'm taking Tampa. It's hard to go against Tom, and you probably seen it. Tom's 7-0 against Dallas. He's never lost.
And he beat him earlier this year,
right?
And I tell you what, that Buccaneers defense. That's why I like the under in this game. I think Brady will have some methodical long drives like he always does in the playoffs. Manage the ball really well. And then I think the Bucs defense, I think Dallas will struggle to move the ball.
Yes.
The only thing that could help Dallas maybe is if they can hit a big player or two. They just don't use Tony Pollard enough. I don't know what the hell. But again, that goes back to Big Mike being a big freaking idiot.
He's being Big Mike.
Yeah, concrete-headed moron.
I hope Monday night we're all happy for Cooley.
Let's hope. I
hope so too.
So, and I'm not sold on. Well, Dallas.
You're going against your son Tom, huh?
Yeah. Well, he might kick my ass, but I'll take my beating as long as Tampa wins.
Jeez. All right. So let's get to our let's zero in on our Super Bowl picks here. Let's go through. Just give me your spiel. Cooley, we'll start with you. Out of the AFC, give me your AFC championship. The two teams that match in the AFC championship.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think that they're going to make another run this year.
Okay, who do you think they'll play in the championship of the AFC to get to the Super Bowl?
Man, that's tough.
Bills or Bengals? Those are the popular choices. But
yeah, I'm not picking the Bucs, unfortunately. I'm going to go. I think we will finally get a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. Well, that won't be. That'll be AFC. So that'll be. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who do you like out of the NFC? So you're saying Bills, Chiefs in the AFC title game. Okay.
Yep,
and then who out of the NFC?
NFC, I got the 49ers, man. I think they play mistake-free football.
Yeah.
And that's so key in the playoffs, man. I could see them definitely.
So you think it's 49ers and Eagles then in the NFC championship?
Yeah. Okay. I could see that.
Okay, Chris, what are you saying? AFC.
I'm going to go. I'm going to take the Bengals.
Oh, okay.
Just to get back there. I don't know why. They.
All right.
Joey Burrow.
Who are they going to match up against? Who are they going to verse in the AFC Championship? The Bills? Or no, they won't be able to play the Bills in the. Well, I guess no, they wouldn't be able to. They're 2-3, so it would have to be. They'll play. See, that's what's hard about the Bills and the Bengals. They gotta maybe have to play each other.
Yeah.
And then to get to the Chiefs, I'm assuming it'll have to be the Chiefs because I don't see anybody beating them. What do you think? Like the Bengals will have to play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, most likely.
Right, in a neutral site.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just
so Burrow keeps up the winning against that arrogant son of a bitch. Answered that question the other day from that guy about the.
You hate him.
He's really not a very likable dude. I don't know. To me, he's not anyway. But I don't know. All right. So what about NFC, Chris? So you're going with the Bengals out of the AFC?
Yeah. It's only one of two teams, Philly or the 49ers. And I just think that, I think the 49ers have won like 10 straight games. I think they're red hot. And that Purdy guy's, is that his name? No.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy. Yeah. They're plus 200.
Yep. I see it that way too. I agree with both of you guys. I really don't see. I'm looking in. I'm like, man, I've watched the NFL long enough, and Coach and I talk about this, and we all talk about it. It's like the NFL not for long. Like you say, like it's too obvious. Like the Eagles and 49ers to me are head and shoulders above. The Eagles are worrying me a little bit. I really like the 49ers. I'm gonna have to go with them out of the NFC. And then I'm got to go with the Chiefs out of the AFC. I think they're playing really good football right now. I like Mahomes a lot. It seems so cliched. Like I wanted to pick a dark horse.
So did I. But it's tough.
I have a hard time finding an upset in here. My only upset that I could find, obviously this week you could see a couple of technical upsets. Tampa, if they beat Dallas, really nobody's going to say that's an upset. And Charger and Jag games, pretty much a flip. Mm-hmm. I do think the Ravens maybe could win. It would take a lot of luck, maybe. And then Giants and Vikings, same thing, kind of a coin flip. I just don't see the Dolphins being able to win or the Seahawks being able to win. And then as you advance on, I don't know. It's going to be tough to go to Philly and win, but I think San Francisco is built to be able to do that. So if I was going to have to make exactas on these championship games, I guess I got to go Eagles, 49ers, and Bills and Chiefs. I hate to say we're cliched there, but you can do those exactas, though, folks. If you want to try to get something, you like a team, I'd urge you to try to do that. Get your matchup, help your odds, pair up the exact matchup. Chiefs 49ers. I think I was like 7-1. And match up the teams you thinking. And another recommendation, if you like somebody in Super Bowl MVP. So if the Chiefs were going to make the Super Bowl, Cools, do you think Mahomes would probably be the likeliest MVP?
Yeah, definitely.
So bet that now instead of waiting, because you're going to get a much better price on it. Chris, if the Bengals make it to the Super Bowl and they were to win win it all, don't you think Burrow would probably be the logical MVP?
He or the wide receiver.
Yeah.
Hey, remember, and that made me think. It was probably 10 years ago. Didn't you bet a receiver for New England?
Yeah, Dion Branch. Yeah. Hey, I've had.
He's the most unknown MVP ever.
I've had a good. Well, maybe not Larry Brown. Remember?
Oh yeah, with the interceptions.
Yeah. Well,
but Dion Branch.
I've done pretty good with that in the Super Bowl, betting those weird guys. There was a.
You probably got a great price on.
Yeah,
that.
it was a great price. There was another guy, an obscure MVP. Well, I had one that I had Damian Williams the year the Chiefs won it. He should have got the MVP. He was great in that game. They ended up giving it to Mahomes, which I guess I can understand. Right, yeah. And then did Brady get it?
Yep.
And you know who else I had when Brady played for New England? I think Edelman got it one year, and I had him.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he got it. Edelman got it. And I want to say there was another. Was there another defensive player in modern years? Obviously, would have been on a winning team. I feel like there was.
What about that guy for?
A guy had.
What about the guy for
Seahawks
Tampa
or something? Or
when they kept intercepting
Derek Brooks, but I don't.
Yeah.
Who got the MVP that year for them?
Well, I don't know, but remember they kept
Rich Gann.
They kept picking him off.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I'm talking like in the last 5 years.
Oh.
If there was, I feel like there was an. Like, who won? Well, all you New England guys, you can just throw them out there. Who won the MVP? Oh, Nick Foles. Did he win it? For the Eagles when they came back? I think he did. He had to have.
Yeah, I think he did.
And then I don't remember who won the year the Falcons came or blew that game against New England. But anyway. All right, well, I think it's about time for Jubb to get in the mix here. You got any picks?
No.
Oh, okay.
You guys were no, sorry.
You guys were you working on your Chinese order?
Yeah, you guys are going. Are you going to do your Super Bowl predictions that we guys?
Yeah, we just did it right. We just did them. Yeah.
All right. What was your
okay, mine was Chiefs versus 49ers in the Super Bowl, and I picked the Chiefs.
Okay, and then Cools.
Same thing.
All right, Chris.
Huh?
What was your Super Bowl prediction?
He had Bengals Niners, and who did
Niners?
And who do you have winning?
49ers.
Okay.
All right.
So we all three had the 49ers in there. Me and Cools have the Chiefs, and Chris has the Bengals.
They'll lose this week. Hey, Matt.
Well, the Chiefs can't lose; they don't play.
Well, I mean the Niners.
Oh, okay.
Hey, the last defensive MVP was Von Miller.
Oh yeah, okay.
Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 50.
He had them sacks.
And then 2 years before that, it was Malcolm Smith for Seattle.
Okay, all right.
Then it goes way back to
Jubb,
all offense.
Any notes to send us off?
Yeah, I got a little something here.
Okay,
so,
please.
Come Super Bowl time,
perfect.
We are going to find ourselves. Let me see if I can get my thing queued up. We're going to find ourselves down in the jungle, trudging through the mud and the undergrowth, in a foreign land far from home. A lone hunter, a scout, a believer, and is looking for his spirit animal. An elephant screams in the distance. Monkeys chatter above, and birds and beasts all fly overhead. They growl in the darkness, but it is down by the river where we find our where we find our spirit animal, and where he finds his prey. The hunter, Savion Johnson, looks out upon a jaguar over the river. And today, I predict that the Jaguars, no matter who they play, will take home the Super Bowl title.
Amazing.
Wow.
I in this picture Say riding on the back of a jag right now.
Hey,
amazing.
That
what
was
a way
good.
to end
that was
things.
good. Hey, Cools, what would if that would happen? How will Say handle that? Will he just go nuts?
I think he'll go to the store. He'll buy a couple bottles of Crown, and I think he'll be out for the night.
So is this how he will handle if they win the Super Bowl, or how if he even get there.
I think that's the same outcome.
Yeah,
I think if they're in the AFC Championship, I think he'll be a mess.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, well, were you with him last week when they?
Oh yeah, he was fired up during that game.
When they picked that ball up and
we were up in front of the TV.
I can just imagine.
I bet he was loud as fuck.
Oh yeah, he's loud even when he's not trying to be, let alone when he's trying. I bet our neighbors had a heart attack when that team fumbled that ball.
Oh yeah, it had to shake the whole area down there.
Yeah, so basically, out of our group, you obviously with Tampa and him with the Jags, because you and I mean, our team. I mean, you like the Ravens, but but
I don't have high.
You kind of wish this weekend it was just over and then we can focus.
Yeah, it'd be fine with me. That's why I was hoping. Well, when flights got grounded, maybe we didn't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
But, dang, a guy can wish. Anyway, that'll about do it for us on Bettor's Last Stand.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
good
thanks
to be
for
back.
joining us.
Me
appreciate
and Cool's coming on.
Everybody listening and following everything. And
good poem.
Keep up with all the Pine Room ongoings as Jubb continues to work just endlessly, night in, night out, to grind out stuff. So we'll be back here next week with our thoughts and comments about this weekend's playoff games. So until then, good luck with your bets, and we will see you next week on Bettor's Last Stand. Good night.
Peace.